Celtic might be on it soon. They were embarrassed in the Champions League on talkSPORT last night. They were smashed 6-0 by Atletico Madrid after the game. The Celtic boss, Brendan Rodgers, blamed defeat on... How do you pronounce his name? Is it Maeda? Dusan Maeda's 23rd minute red card.
It's a really, really soft red card. Now, for a team like ourselves, coming to here, 11v11, we would have to be at our real max to be looking to get something out of the game. Once it goes so early to 10 versus 11, it makes it really, really difficult for us.
Brendan Rodgers, right, has led Celtic out 16 times in the Champions League.
Yeah.
This is the 11th time they have lost. In those 16 games, they've conceded a whopping 46 goals, which roughly amounts to a goal every 35 minutes. How listen, he's a good manager.
And they've only scored 13.
Which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
He's a good manager in the league, right? He's won them, the league. We know that. And when he's come down south with Leicester, he was fantastic, won the FA Cup. And of course, nearly did it with Liverpool. Why is it so difficult for some managers when European football comes along?
Listen, I guess for Celtic, and you'd have to say investment, the players they've got makes it more difficult. Maybe you could look at the league and say maybe it's not as competitive, the league, so when they come to playing against opposition that are top drawer in the Champions League, it's no comparison. It can almost lure you into a false sense of how good you actually are. Do you know what I mean? You're smashing these teams in the SPL, and then all of a sudden you get in the Champions League and it's like, whoa, like baptisms of fire. But you're right, to have 16 games in charge of Celtic and only win one, and that be away from home is crazy. But listen, he is a good manager, and it's something that Celtic fans and Scottish fans have struggled with in the Champions League to get out of the groups. I mean, the last time they got out of the groups was what, 2012?
Well, I've got some stats about that. 2012, 2013 was the last time a Scottish side qualified for the knockout stages of the Champions League, right? Yeah. There were, between then and now, 3,990 days. We've had 5 prime ministers. We had BREXIT. Barack Obama served a second term as US president. Talk Radio, Talk TV, Virgin Radio, Times Radio and talkSPORT 2 have all been launched. Leicester been promoted to the Premier League, won the Premier League, were relegated from the Premier League. I mean, the list goes on. Back in 2012, 2013, No Tandan hadn't even kissed a girl. Well, hold on. That's still not changed. But anyway, it's a long time, right? It's a long time. Is it all down to, and if it is, there's no problem with that. Is it all down to the gulf in money between Scottish football and the rest of Europe, do you think? Is it as simple as that?
I think partly yes, but you'd think, as you just said, that in that time, you'd still expect them to have, at some point, got out of the group. Do you know what I mean? At some stage, you would have thought to themselves, well, we must have got out of the group at some point. But it might come down to that. Investment's obviously a big thing as well. The quality, the pulling power that they've got. But not even just... I mean, I remember great Celtic teams, and I know they're a long way off that, but there were a time where Celtic would get out of the groups and they'd play against the big hitters, and it'd be competitive. Now, again, you're
alluding to like the Barcelona game, right?
No, so not. I'm talking about even before that.
Okay.
Even people like Larson, when
Larson,
them boys, Petrov, these boys.
Yeah.
Like Nakamura, I think he scored a free kick against you boys when they beat you 1-0.
Right.
I think when you think back to them Scottish sides, you think, oh, good. And the Rangers had equally as good a side as well. For whatever reason now, I mean, it's almost now seen for Celtic, if they get out of the groups, that's success. That's almost as good as winning it.
Well, it is though, right? I think that's fair. If Celtic make it into the last 16 in the Champions League, that is an unbelievable success. Oh, it is, Benty.
It is.
I'm not being patronising, by the way.
It's unbelievable if they do that. But you think the size of Celtic Football Club, which is a giant, right?
In Scotland it is.
No,
and its support is incredible.
It's massive. And they've won a European Cup. So they are huge. They can down at the top table, as you say.
Yes, they can. You can't, but they can.
Celtic can down at the top table.
Yeah.
Their expectation should be more than getting out of the groups, but I get it. They're getting left behind investment-wise and things like that. It's almost as good as winning it. They get out of the groups. That is an unbelievable achievement. But it's just... Every single time they get the opportunity,
let's speak to a Celtic fan before we move on and talk about your side, Arsenal. Michael is a Celtic fan. Hello, Michael. How are you?
How you doing, lads? I'm okay. Just driving home for work.
Oh, okay. That's nice. Listen, I don't think we've been unfair what we've been saying about your side, have we?
Say that again, mate.
I don't think we've been unfair by what we've been saying about your team in Europe.
Aye, well, you're talking about all these since the last time we qualified. How many times has Scottish teams been in the Champions League since that last time in 2012, 2013?
Yeah, hardly.
Also,
how many times have Scottish sides been in the Champions League? It's every year, right?
No, every year, no.
Oh, because you've got to qualify for it. I thought you meant the qualifiers, right? Okay, sorry.
No.
But still, you've still been in it enough.
Sorry?
You've still been in the competition enough times, right?
Yeah, I understand that, but then we go back to, like, say there was the other night, big hands, we don't change the way we play, this is how we play. Brendan Rodgers last night, we do it to 10 men, it was hard, it's hard against 11. He still tried to play attacking football. We still went 4-3-2. So, Rodgers, I know he's had all these defeats since he came to Celtic. He still wants to play the Celtic way, attacking football, and unfortunately, in the Champions League, it doesn't work.
To be fair, Michael, you've been in the group stage 4 times since 2012. Celtic have.
Yeah, sorry, I was breaking up there. But what I'm saying is, Brendan Rodgers plays a philosophy attacking football, and he never changes it.
Like should he? Should he, Michael?
10 men went 4-3-2.
Yeah, but should he change his ways?
He has to get results. We've got to. But Celtic fans won't tolerate it. I was on the group chat last night after the games. I said, well, we win the league, bread and butter. No, Michael, we need to win in Europe.
Michael, can you hear me? Michael, let me ask you a question then. Is it getting to the point, and I can't believe I'm going to ask this question, but is it getting to the point where you're almost getting sick and tired of it just being even though you're winning a trophy every single season, the league?
I know.
Is it getting to a point where you're getting a bit sick of just the league? You do want to see now something a bit more like European success or a good run in Europe?
Yes, that's the point I'm making. Like last night, I was getting chastised off my mates because they were saying exactly what you were saying. I'm fed up with this. But to me, being in the Champions League is a great achievement for Celtic. As a Europa League level, I would say so.
Michael, another question for you, right? Would you rather win the league with Celtic, obviously, or get to the quarterfinals of the Champions League?
Great question.
Right, okay. I'd rather win the league. My bread and butter, win the league.
Do you get excited about it when you win it still?
Oh, 100%.
You do?
100%. Okay. That's what I want.
Do you think, Michael, because I totally hear what you're saying, right? You know, your team, best team in Scotland, you win the league, of course, over Rangers, your rivals. I understand all that. But then that's sort of it for the rest of the season. You might have a run in the Scottish Cup, etc. But that's sort of it. With regards to the golfing, the financial input into sides north of the border and south and the rest of Europe, it's so difficult for Celtic to compete. Do you think something needs to be introduced? I'll be honest, I can't see it happening with Premier League sides, but even if there was like a Championship Cup where the top teams in the Championship...
Well, next season we're going to the Champions League getting revamped.
Yeah.
But there's another one for you. Celtic will hold their own against teams from Pot 2, Pot 3. And teams with Pot 1, like you seen last season when Liverpool went up to the other side of the city. We've seen against Celtic, against Barcelona before. We don't stand a chance against Pot 1 teams unless we play to our maximum and they have an off night. Against teams in Pot 2 and Pot 3, we'll give them a game.
Yeah. Michael, listen, what a great call that was. It must be so difficult. You highlighted it there, the amount of times that Celtic and Rangers won the Premiership. And it's just sort of like after 4 games, if one of them's lost 2, you sort of think, it's done now. I mean, I'm looking at Celtic here. I mean, they've won it, other than when Steven Gerrard won it, which was in 2020-21. Celtic have won it pretty much last decade, every single year. Yeah. And that's why I wonder, you always want your club to be picking up trophies. I don't care what league you play in, you always want them to be winning. Yeah. But that's why I asked Michael, I wonder if at some point, because he said about his mates there, do they just get sick of winning it every year? Especially with the state of Rangers. I don't know about sick, but maybe just a little bit like... Like, would they want... I don't know. And that's why I asked them against... I know quarterfinals of the Champions League. Quarterfinals would be or to win the league again. I mean, they've got that many league titles, you couldn't miss out on one.
talkSPORT Drive. Super opinionated sporting debate. Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.